Hey, it's Emily and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be doing a shelf audit. So I fully got my inspiration from Gavin. If you haven't seen his video, I will link it down below. You should go check it out. But I'm going to go through each of my shelves and see how many of them I've read, work out a little percentage, and then see if there's any shelves that I haven't read any from or I've read most of. So yeah, just going to see how many books on each shelf I've read. Maybe that will motivate me to kind of tackle some more and get through my physical TBR, increase those percentages, and yeah, I think there won't be any shelf that's got 0, but I guess we'll find out. I am curious to see which ones are better than the others. I have a feeling on my mystery thriller area that's going to be more unread than read, because I tend to unhaul my thrillers after reading them if I don't think I'm going to reread them because I know the twists and that. So that's probably going to be the worst area. The best area is probably the shelf behind me. But we'll see. I think without further ado, let's jump on into our first shelves. I'm going to do all the books that are across the top as one shelf and then we'll go from there. So yeah, I'm going to write them all down, do some maths, and yeah, see which shelves are the best, which are the worst. So yeah. So as I've done a bookshelf tour fairly recently where I've shown each shelf in detail and gone up close, I'll probably do the majority of the video from this kind of wide angle and I'll go and talk about each shelf individually. You can pretty much see all the shelves in, there might be some adjustment, but yeah, I just thought this would be fun and interesting, at least for myself. Hopefully it'll be a bit of motivation to actually crack down my physical TBR. So I have this microphone, apologies for the lighting. Hopefully this sounds okay, it's from my old music tech days. I literally just found it, so I thought that could be useful for walking around and hopefully you can still hear me okay. So at the very top you can kind of just about see it in shot, all the books at the very top. I have my series, as I said in my bookshelf tour. Hopefully you can see the top a bit better now. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I've read the first 11 books here. I've read the first 4 graphic novels. Oh, and my mum's ringing me now. Great. Okay, so counting all the ones. So I've read 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then I've read most of these. Maths. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Oops. I've read all these, so that's up to 33. Then we have the Poldark books, which I've read 6 of, so 33 plus 6 is 39. I've read that one, so 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. I said 45, didn't I? So I'll write that down. See, I'm still using stuff from my A-levels, music tech, calculator for maths. So at the top we have our first percentage is 71% on that top shelf, which is okay. That's doing pretty decent. That's a good start, I think. 71%. Okay, I think without further ado, let's jump on into this shelf over here. So this is my darker cover shelf, I guess. My cable just about reaches. So I'm going to count them really quickly. Okay. I've read 15 on that top shelf. 15. So there's a lot more unread, I must say, already I know. There's 34 books on that shelf. So I've read 15 out of 34. So it's below half, but not far off. So it's 44% on that shelf. So that's okay. It's okay. We're getting there. I'm just going to go down. I think that's going to be the easiest way. Keep the genres together. So over here we have more mystery thrillers. Now this is the area I said that I thought would be the worst. So getting it out the way first, getting the hard bit out of the way. There's not many on this shelf I've read, I must say. I know that already. That first stack I've read 1. 7. I've read a whole total of 7 books on that shelf. And that's a fairly packed shelf. So I'm going to quickly count how many books are on this shelf. 38. Now, 7 out of 38 is pretty bad. Pretty bad. That's probably going to be my worst shelf yet. And probably the worst shelf overall. So what was it? 7 over 38. 18%. 18%. Okay, it could have been worse. But yeah, this shelf has got 18%. Okay, moving on swiftly. Carry on with the thrillers below. We have some more paler covers and my YA thrillers on this shelf, so I think it's going to do better because I've read most a large portion of my YA thrillers. I've read The Appeal, 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, so 1, 2, 3, 17, 18, 19. I've read 19, so that's a lot better than the shelf before. I thought it was going to be around the same sort of mark, but I think it's going to do better. Did I say 17? I think I said 17. There's probably also around the 38 mark for this shelf. I'll quickly count. 39, so 39 on that shelf. So 17 over 39 gets us a red percentage of 43%, so a bit better than the 18. But still less than half red, which is not ideal. It's not what we want. I think I'm going to stick with the mysteries and thrillers, actually. I'm going to do my Agatha Christie books next. I think that's probably a sensible way to carry on. So this top shelf, this is probably the worst Agatha Christie shelf, if judging by the red percentage. This has my Miss Marples and Mary Westmacott, so let's have a quick count. 7. I've read 7 on that shelf, which is more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be about 4 or 5. But as a percentage, on this shelf, there's 19 books, so 7 out of 19 is still less than half. It's 37%, so not great. Not the worst shelf, yeah, the second worst shelf. So yeah, I guess let's just keep going. My Poirots. Now, I'm making my way through my Poirot collection. So I've read most. I want to say I've read over half. Let's do a quick count. Okay, I've read 26 of them. I've read 26 on this shelf. So that's better than I thought it was going to be. Let's see how many are on that shelf. I think it's 38, but I need to check. Yeah, there's 38. I knew it. That's a fairly decent percentage. 26 out of 38. That's 68%. I was going to say it's our best shelf. No, yeah, it's still not. The top shelf's still the best shelf. I'm going to quickly do my last Agatha Christie shelf. They're all the special editions. So I want to say I've read most of them, but let's have a count and have a look. I've read 28 on that shelf, which is actually quite a bit. I didn't realise it would be so much. Let's quickly count how many books are on that shelf to get our percentage. 41. Okay. So it's probably a similar percentage to the last shelf. So 28 over 41. 68%. It's the same. Once again, that's 2 shelves in a row that have got 68%. So amazing. The next shelf I'm going to do is, I know I said I was going to go down, I'm just not. I'm going to do my little horror shelf up here. So this is probably going to be a fairly low percentage. I don't think I've read many of these. I've read House Shark, Saturday Night, Ghost Club, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. I've read 9. So, okay. There's 16 on there. So 9 out of 16 isn't too bad. That's 56%. So it's more than half. So I'm now going to do my 2 sci-fi shelves. This first one, I think it's going to be a pretty decent percentage. I've got the Red Rising books, which I've read all but Lightbringer, so that's a good start. 8. Okay, that wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. But there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's only 13 books on that shelf, so it's okay. That's 62%, so not the worst. The shelf below it's probably actually one of the best shelves. I have a feeling, as I think there's only one book. Yeah, there's only one book on the shelf that I haven't read, which is The Martian. So this could be a bit more promising. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's actually 2 books. So I've read 12 out of 14, which is 86%, our first shelf in the 80s. So that's our winning one so far, is this beautiful little shelf here. Does help that there's not many books on it, and they're all series that I've pretty much read. I haven't read Fated, which is a prequel, and then The Martian, as I said. So we're doing okay. I'm going to do this mystery shelf next. It's got my mystery series on. This, I think, is going to have a fairly decent percentage, as I read a lot of the series. There's a couple that I haven't read yet, but for the most part, I think I've read them. So let's do a quick count of the books I have read. 35. I've read 35 books on this shelf, so this could be our winning shelf. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books that I haven't read. So on that shelf, there's 40 books. 35 out of 40 is pretty decent. That's 87.5, and I'm going to round it up to 88% because I'm feeling like that. This is our winning shelf so far, and I don't think a shelf is going to beat it. So I think without further ado, I might even bring you closer. shall I bring you closer? Let's do it. We can do the bottom half of our shelves. Our shelves? Or my shelves. They can be yours if you want to. I'm going to carry on using the microphone even though I'm sat down here. I'm going to do these 2 or these 3 shelves. Let's do them all together. So, this shelf first. I have a feeling this is going to be another really bad shelf. Let's have a count. Let's count the books I've read first. I've read 19 on this shelf, so it's not awful, but not the best. 19. There's 45 books on that shelf. So 19 out of 45, less than half. Definitely a shelf that has more TBR on, well, evidently. So doing the quick maths, 19 over 45 is 42%. So not the worst, but not great. Now the shelf below it's probably going to have a higher percentage just because there's a couple authors that I've read lots of together. So I've read 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've read 24 books on that shelf, so I think that's going to be a fairly decent. I've already forgotten. I started writing it down and I've forgotten. 27. Was it 27? Okay, it's definitely not 27 because there's only 28 books on the shelf. It was 24. I've read 24 out of 28. So probably is a pretty decent percentage. That's 86%. So not quite the 88 of up there, but still a pretty decent percentage. But I did expect that shelf to do well, so kind of hit my expectations there. But the shelf below is hardbacks. I'm going to try and lower you so you can have a look at the ones I've read. I hope that's a better angle. I mean, it's not the best. You don't need to see me. You don't need to see me. It's the start of my hardback collection, so we'll go through them. I've read 18 books, so it's not awful. I've already forgotten. I need to stop forgetting them. Did I say 15? 17. I've read 17. I've just recounted. It's 17. I think I might have counted wrong anyway the first time. So I read 17 out of 30. 17 out of 30 is still more than half. 17 divided by 30. Yeah, it's 57%. Well, it's 56.6 recurring, but 57. But that's these shelves done. Let's move this way and carry on. So the angle has obviously changed. I'm going to quickly go through my F1 shelf, but then we can focus on the lower ones, as I kind of forgot about this one earlier. It's not actually that good of a percentage, I don't think. I've read 7. I've read 7 out of 15, so just under half. But there's plans. There are plans to keep going. Well, obviously I want to keep going, but I have plans for some of the series that I'm halfway through or haven't started yet. It's 47% though, so not too bad, but obviously less than half, which we don't like. Then we have this one, which has my Boys of Tommen series, as well as a few L. Kennedys. I've read most of these. I've read 8 on that shelf. If we include my current read as an unread book, which is normally here, there's 12 books normally on that shelf. So 8 out of 12, 75%, not too bad. Moving on to the ice hockey romance shelf. I want to say this is about 50-50. I want to say about 50-50. I counted them fairly recently and it was about 50-50 then. But I have bought some, read some. So let's have a quick count on this shelf. So I've read 17 books on this shelf. I think there's 16 unread, but I'll count them anyway. Yeah, there's 15 unread books. So I've read 17 out of 32. That's more than half. Just. It's 53%, but it's more than half. I'll take it. Shuffling back a bit. We're going to go for this one. I haven't quite fit this new haul in, but I want it to go on this shelf. I just don't know how to rearrange them yet. I reckon this could be about a 50-50 shelf as well. Okay, I reckon that might be worse. I've read 9 books in this shelf. There's 16. Okay, it's more than half. It's more than half by 1 book, but it counts. It's 56%. I'll count it. Not too bad. This is probably going to be a good shelf as well. I reckon this percentage is going to be quite high. I've read those 2. 1, 2, 3, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've read 20 on this shelf, so that's not too bad. 20 I'll take. There's 26 books on that shelf, so 20 out of 26. I'll take it. Fantastic. That's 77%. Pretty decent. More than 3/4 read. I thought it was going to be a bit higher, but I'll take it. I'll take 77%. So I'm going to shuffle along and do these 2. I don't know if I'll be able to get the tripod anywhere near them. They're kind of hidden behind my desk, so I might just have to shout at you and tell you how many I've read. First up, we have my witchy shelf over here. I reckon this could be a fairly low rating. Rating? Percentage. Okay, so I read 10 books on that shelf, so not too bad. 10 books. I honestly thought it was going to be worse, so I'll take it. There's 19 though on there, so it's only just over half. So it's 53%, but can't complain at that. There's a couple plans in the pipeline for getting through some of those, so I am aware of that shelf, even though it's hidden in the corner. And then the shelf below it is like my Patrick Ness collection, so this is probably going to be a fairly high percentage. I think there's like one book on this shelf that I haven't read, which is The Crane Wife, so I think this is going to be a fairly decent percentage. So I read 14 out of 15 books there. So is this going to be our best shelf? It is. It's 93%. 93%. That's going to be our only shelf in the 90s. I know it because we've only got 2 hardback shelves left. This shelf down here, like I said before in my bookshelf tour, it's got like my uni yearbook, How to Machine Sew, Liz L skincare, quilting. It's all just kind of like non-fiction manuals and things like that. So nothing exciting down in that shelf. I won't count it in this video. But yeah, I think without further ado, let's move on to our hardbacks. So starting down the bottom here, this is my biggest hardback shelf. They're kind of packed in here, I must say, but I want to say my estimation is probably going to be about 45%. I want to say it's read. Let's count. Okay, so I've read 18, so it could be a better shelf than I actually thought. I reckon it could be about half and half-ish. Did I say 18? Yeah, 18, because you can't quite see them, but there's a couple little thin books up here that I've read as well. So 18 is perfect. I think that's actually much, much better than I thought it was going to be. Okay, 31. So I have read more than half. I've read 18 out of 31. That's 58%, so I'll take it. That's definitely a win. Okay, I thought it'd be a lot worse than that. And then finally, we have this tiny little shelf down the bottom here. This is mostly my Grady Hendrix collection, so I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty decent shelf in terms of percentage. Okay, I've read 8. So that's, I think, okay. I think that's okay. There's 11 books on that shelf, so there's only 3 I haven't read. 8 over 11, that's 72%. So, I could round it up because it's 72.7. Yeah, 73%. That one extra percentage makes me feel better. I could carry on and do the books in the other room, but I think I'm going to leave it here for today. I think I'm just going to base off my main collection. The ones in the other room are kind of classics, books from my childhood. There's a couple books on my TBR in there. It's mostly kind of like classics, children's classics. So I don't necessarily count them as like my main collection, if that makes sense. So I think that's it in terms of going through all the shelves. I've written down all the percentages. As I said, surprise, surprise, the Patrick Ness shelf is the best rating, or read percentage, I guess. That was 93%. This little one in here, 93%. That wins. My worst one was that mystery thriller shelf up the top there, the colourful covers one. I had read only 18%, so that's definitely a shelf that I need to tackle in the near future. Maybe I could do some reading vlogs. I know Gavin has done that sort of thing. Following on from his shelf audit video. A couple other honourable mentions, I guess I could say. My mystery series shelf had 88%. That's another really high one. This shelf down here with my Alice Osman books and my Sophie Kinsella books, that had 86%. And this sci-fi shelf up here also had 86%. So those are a couple shelves that stood out. The ones that need the most work, definitely that colourful mystery thriller shelf. This contemporary shelf had 42%, so it's still below half. And then my Miss Marple books, that shelf had 37%, so that's another one that I am slowly making my way through and working on. So those are kind of the priority focus, I guess I should say, following on from this video. It was definitely interesting. Some shelves were better than I thought they would be, some are worse, but overall it was definitely an interesting thing to look at. I hope you've enjoyed it if you've made it through to the end. I really do appreciate it. I certainly had fun figuring this all out, and it's definitely opened my eyes as to where I need to focus my attention when reading my TBR. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. It's definitely been fun to film, and yeah, if there's a calculator emoji, is there? I don't actually know, but if there is, feel free to leave that down below if you've made it through to the end. I hope you all have a lovely day, evening, night, whenever you're watching this, and please subscribe if you're new around here because I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon with a brand new video. Bye!